All right, friends, it's T-Man, and we back again with the bumbleclad himself of the fitness industry, the Rasta Clodman, JasonBlaha, bro. Yes, the lifting gym recruiting lifting slave. So I'm gonna review this video. He just popped this up. JasonBlaha says training frequency is just a tool in the toolbox. Yeah, I'm sure it's a little bit more than that.
Hey everybody, it's JasonBlaha here, and today I thought I would sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. Let me get a sip of my water first.
It is JasonBlaha. I got him to drink water because I kept hacking at him about the Kool-Aid. That just goes to that just goes to show you how powerful his videos, my videos are. I trolled the shit out of him calling it Kool-Aid, and he changed it to water, so he is watching me.
My radio voice going, and let's talk about this. All right, on this topic of training frequency and why once a week frequency per muscle is probably okay. Again, this is one of these where I had to eat crow, right? Because I'm one of the people who was telling all of you a decade ago, we need to train a muscle group twice a week, maybe 3 times a week for novices, but twice a week. And I cited all those studies on muscle protein synthesis to the point where even when clients realize, hey, you're doing once a week, but I'm like, but I've done it.
Listen to what he says. He wants you to come in and train your muscles. Oh, 2-3 times a week or 4 times a week, whatever the fuck this is, this training. I need to train my muscle. You need to train it to do what? Listen to me. People in sports, they have to keep coming and training. At soccer, they have practice, right? These professional athletes, they have practice camps. They have camps, they practice, and then when the season starts, they play. Why do they have to keep practicing at doing these things? Because it isn't really based on anything physical. It's based on, I don't know how to explain this. It's like lifting. You could build physical strength, natural physical strength through building muscle. That's tangible. But then you could build artificial strength through these androgen receptors and force production proliferating motor units. It disappears. You have to practice at doing it. So you're a slave. You're a slave to that. I'm not a slave. I'm not a lifting slave or a gym slave. I don't hang around gyms. And I definitely am not a lifting slave. I built my body as big and as strong as I could get it. I probably could have gone up to 300, but I moved away. I was busy. But the maximum I got to was 285 pounds. And at 285 pounds, bro, I could always come off the street at any time and never lift in a gym, but just literally go to a gym maybe 2-3 years later and literally put 500 pounds on my back and squat it for reps. I could bench press over 400 or 500. I could squat over 500-600. No problem, even 700. Easy by coming back at a body weight of 285 pounds. I never lost it because I went through what we call repeated bouts of adaptations or injuries causing these adaptations. Get it, man? That's what makes you bigger and stronger. It's tangible. You don't have to practice at it. You don't have to practice at being super fast. You don't have to practice at throwing a baseball super fast or anything or hitting anything. Once you build your body more type 2 muscle fibers, it makes you good at every sport. You are super strong. Get it? Yeah, man. But you fucking losers out there, you all want to be like Blaha, gotta lift the heavy weight. You gotta be a skinny, strong guy. Bullshit, strong guy. I think people are really daft out there, you know that? They don't understand nothing. And they give up easily because, I reached a newbie gains and I can't go further with that. Because it's based on an adaptation print system, duh.
Also, and I've done it in client vlogs up to 2 years ago. And I think that's a point people lost sight of. I was doing that 2 years ago in client vlogs. I have personally chose to maintain twice a week on training frequency up until very recently. And we need
what? Training frequency? He's wasting his time. Look, motherfucker, just fucking build your body big and fucking strong. And fuck off with this lifting a heavyweight bullshit. Get it, bro? Wasting your life and your time away as a gym lifting slave in a gym. You understand me, man? And stop eating that crazy artificial diet of yours, Blaha. I'm telling you, you're going to die soon. You have sarcopenia. You're already one step in the grave. You're in an early grave. At 50, maybe you're going to die already. I had a friend, he died at 60, but you're going to die at 50, okay?
We need to discuss the evidence behind this, because this is not something that I came to lightly, to where it's like, oh, Blaha just decided for no reason at all that it was okay. I had to go off of the overwhelming bulk of the scientific and real world evidence, which...
What evidence?
Basically showed that there probably isn't a difference, okay? So in terms of muscle hypertrophy, the reason we thought it was, and it was myself, it was a lot of other evidence type-based people.
There is a difference.
Well, this is one reason you saw the upper lower splits push so much, because, you know, you don't want people training 6 days a week. It's probably
upper and lower, because people don't know what the hell they're doing. Will do anything because they don't understand it's based on an adaptation principle. They don't even know what that means, adaptation. How do you get an adaptation? When you get muscle damage, that's when you get an adaptation. Okay, man? And then it needs to go through a repair and a remodeling phase.
not ideal. 5 is pushing it, and with 5, you better kind of know what you're doing. So...
with 5, yeah, that's it. I need to overwork myself, yes. I need to shrink my muscles. Go 5, yes.
We were saying because we had all these studies, not all these studies, the limited studies that had been done, looking at muscle protein synthesis, and they were determining...
there is no... how should I put it? Limited amount of studies. There are massive amount of studies. I piled them in my old channel in the community section, and I put shitloads of them all the time now in this community section, my new channel. So what are you talking about? And without additional nuclei, you can't synthesize more protein. It doesn't matter how much protein you eat, okay? Look, man, go to the gym and go on a natural protein diet. Go lift your weights. Go do your routines, all of you. And notice that the scale is not moving. You keep coming into the gym, you keep lifting. If protein builds muscle and weights, these weights build muscle, and you gotta eat protein, whatever, you gotta build these fucking muscles, then why the fuck isn't anybody in the gym getting bigger with every session? With every session, that means you should be gaining muscle. That means that the needle on the fucking scale should be fucking moving, right? But if that motherfucker ain't moving, bro, well, guess what? You are a fucking gym lifting fucking slave. Get it, man? Through your fucking skull.
That after you train a muscle, you only get up to 48 hours of muscle protein synthesis. So what does that mean?
No. If you train a muscle, there's a window of protein synthesis? Yeah. If you lifted a weight, if you went back to practice at making that muscle good, at lifting a fucking weight, well, guess what? Yeah, there's a window for there's a window for protein synthesis, but there's a window for protein breakdown as well. You're just turning over protein, you idiot. You're turning over protein. That's why the needle on the scale ain't fucking moving. Because that day you broke down these proteins, you went home and you ate, and then you replaced what you broke down. Because you didn't get an addition of nuclei. They only come in an adaptation. Get it? And so they can only further that domain to further support further muscle growth. Get it, man? So it doesn't matter how much fucking protein you eat. Regardless, without those nuclei, you're not going to push that domain. So no adaptation, you are adapted. So if you're adapted, you're just practicing at doing something fantasy. You're being good at doing something. Moving objects around or throwing things or doing weird shit. Get it?
Well, that means you only have 48 hours to grow. And on top of that, a lot of us were saying, it wasn't just me, it was a lot of other people, we were kind of saying, well, that means that we need to be careful on volume per session, because if muscle damage gets too high and we're not recovered within that 48 hours, guess what? Maybe we'll lose muscle growth.
If muscle damage is too high, we won't be able to recover and come back. Oh my God. I thought the whole goal was to damage muscles and grow them bigger and stronger. Don't you want to get stronger? I know. You want to get better at lifting weights. You want to get better at playing basketball. You want to get better at fucking, I don't know, fucking baseball, whatever the fuck you're doing there. Man, you are really crazy. You want to practice, you want to keep practicing at being good at doing those things, but yet if you were to damage these muscle fibers repeatedly and build them up, more type 2, then you wouldn't have to practice at doing it anymore. You understand me? You don't have to practice. You'll constantly be good at doing them.
Personally said that. That was a reasonable assumption based upon the available data 10 years ago. And it sounds good, but that's the problem.
Ants carry 75% of their body mass is muscle. That's why they're able to lift 10 times their body weight. They don't have to practice at lifting, you slave. You understand me? When you build real muscle through an adaptation process, but you're too stupid to understand that. One guy asked me, "Hey man, what are you doing? What are you doing there? What are you doing there? That exercise? What are you doing there? What am I doing there? I'm damaging muscle fibers so I can rebuild them bigger and stronger." I go, "What are you doing over there?" He's like, "I'm getting stronger." You're getting stronger, are you? No, you're not. You're getting better at lifting that weight, you dumbass.
When it comes to data, we can have some data and go, well, it sounds good, and then we can draw reasonable extrapolations until we test those extrapolations.
I didn't have to practice at lifting those heavy weights anymore because I got 285 of muscle, 285 pounds. I was good at lifting them, all of them, pushing them, lifting them, benching them, whatever the fuck. It lasted for decades until I had a neurological problem in my 40s. That's about the only problem I have. I have a neurological problem. If it wasn't for that, I probably would be, I'm still pretty good at a good majority of them. I don't have to practice at everything. That's why I look the way I do. I look the way I do. I don't have to practice at looking like a bodybuilder because I built it over 25 years ago. You understand me? I don't have to be like these lifting gym slaves in the gym. They want to practice at looking like a bodybuilder or lifting heavy weights or whatever the fuck they're doing there. I don't have to do that. You understand me? Once you do it, it stays.
Repeatedly in the lab. Okay, here's the problem that always was problematic. It's like, well, what about all these people who do once a week body part splits who made tons of gains?
What gains did they make doing these body part splits? Who are they? What do they eat? Carbohydrates? What are you talking about? How much gains did they make? He's making this shit up, man. Show some proof.
Can we say, oh, it's because they were all on drugs? That's what a lot of us said. Well, it's extending the muscle protein synthesis time.
I don't know. A lot of people are on drugs. They're not eating protein exclusively, you dumbass. They're eating a lot of carbohydrates. It's called, there's fucking two types of fucking hypertrophy, you dummy. There's sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar, okay? It isn't fucking myofibrillar. All the carbs they're eating, it's sarcoplasmic, you dumbass.
You see the problem? Because it wasn't everyone who was on.
What's the problem? Look, why don't you fucking experiment with yourself, Blaha? Go fucking eat, go buy a 50, 100-pound bag of fucking potatoes, wolf them down every single day, and work out in your shitty garage. And notice how you're gonna blow up like a balloon, the balloon method. Yeah, you're gonna look like you're on steroids, even though you are on steroids, but you're gonna look like you're on steroids, even if you're not taking them, doing that.
There were plenty of drug-free people who got fantastic gains training this way. Thousands.
You know, I think you're obsessed with drugs and this and that because you're fucking, you know, you're just inferior. Your genetics. You're just such a loser, man. I think it's something you just can't help it. You can't help it because you're so you were born like this, like a mush puppet.
So, but we all always wrote it off, and myself included. Again, I'm guilty of this. And I make no excuses for it other than went off the data that we had at the time. But again...
Oh, it's about the data we had. Oh, man, the data, yeah, you know. You couldn't figure it out yourself. You've fucking been lifting for 35 years. You think you'd figure it out that it's based on an adaptation system by now, eh? I mean, it took me somewhat a while to figure it out in my 20s. But at least I figured it out.
And the issue it's worked out okay in the real world. Well, and then the further it's been tested, what is it that we found? That as long as volume is equal, it doesn't seem to matter.
Here's the thing. If volume is equal, then volume in food needs to be equal to the volume that you put out in the gym. If you worked out for 3 hours in the gym, you need to eat for 3 hours. Yeah, man, I'm not joking. Look, if you put in 3 hours in I don't care what workout you did in the gym. If you put in 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever it is you're doing there, you need to eat for those 2-3 hours. You understand me? Otherwise, forget it. You're just wasting your time.
The volume equated research and studies kind of found, look, if you're going to do whatever, 12 sets a week, 8 sets a week, you can do it once, you can do it once, you can split it up 2, you can split it up 3 times. No significant difference in the hypertrophy outcomes. Well, that's kind of an important point. And the biggest issue is that it's been demonstrated multiple times. The frequency doesn't really matter that much. As long as the volume...
No, adaptations do. Muscle damage and adaptations. They are the most important things. Yes, Blaha.
Is equal. So it makes sense if a person wants to run crazy high volumes. Sure, you want to split. You don't want to do 20 sets for a muscle in one workout. That data is generally shown in the past. That's kind of bad. But what about people who are going to do 10 or 12 sets? I mean, isn't that kind of what you see me doing? 10 to 12 really hard sets, close to failure using progressive overload. And we can choose whatever.
10 to 12 sets doing progressive overload. Yeah, okay, but you've yet to say, and you've yet to use the proper words in science. Adaptations. You're adapted. We want to get more adaptations. We don't want to adapt to anything. Here's the thing. In the bodybuilding world, to get bigger and stronger, we don't want to adapt to any of these fucking lifts or any of these fucking machines, bro, get it, or any exercises. We want to get adaptations so we can get bigger and stronger so we don't have to practice at it.
Wherever frequency we want. That's what the evidence shows. That is the actual evidence says, hey, we can split that up however you want. The hypertrophy is going to be largely...
Bro, you know how jealous people are of me in the gym? One guy wanted to fight with me. He said he had a pro card and everything. He attacked me last year in the summertime. He told me not to speak to somebody, this, that. He started attacking me. He called me all kinds of fucking nasty names that he wanted to fight, bro. He wanted to physically fight. He told me he had a fucking pro card, this, that, whatever, some bullshit. He's some steroid guy in the gym, training people in the gym I go to. And honestly, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't tell people how to work out in gyms. I don't instruct people how to work out. I talk about stuff, but I don't tell them this is how you work out or anything. I don't instruct anybody. I think he was confused or something. Maybe he thought I was stealing a client. I'm really not sure. But anyways, that's how jealous they are of me when they see me when I walk around, because I look unnatural. I'm natural, but I look unnatural to them because in their small little puny brains, it's unfathomable that somebody could look like that, like a bodybuilder, and not take drugs. They could actually look like somebody that's on drugs and not take drugs. How is this possible? And how is it possible this guy never lifts? He never comes to the gym. We see him a year later, half a year, 4 years later, and he still looks like a fucking bodybuilder. He doesn't even practice at trying to look like a bodybuilder. Because here's the thing, Blaha, when you actually build it, it stays, it's permanent. It's something you could build and make it permanent. It's very specific. I know it's hard for you to believe in hyperplasia, but unfortunately, without hyperplasia, the satellite cell cannot donate its nuclei because it's based on a split and division. It's based on a dividing state, which is based on hyperplasia, meaning more cells. Hyperplasia means more cells. Hypertrophy means something is getting bigger, the cell is getting bigger, or cells can get enlarged, they get bigger. But without hyperplasia, you cannot get more cells, so you cannot support further muscle growth for that domain to increase that domain through hypertrophy. You understand me? They're two parts, they're two in one. You can't leave out one of the ingredients in the pie, or that pie will not grow in that oven.
Equal. However, the issue we run into is the other one that I pointed out, that when we do stuff inside of a session, neurological fatigue accumulates. The muscles that you work last in a session, if you're doing multiple muscles, tend to grow the least. Now that's...
What? Neurological what? Tend to grow the least? The more? What are you talking about? How do they grow? Where do they grow? On air?
Problematic. So it kind of means, all right, we might do...
The best growth that you're getting there is inflammatory response. And then it goes down. It blows up and it goes down. You're hypering and atrophying. Hypering and atrophying. Hypering and atrophying. Yeah, man.
Okay, if we're training everything multiple times a week. But we're going to develop muscle imbalances more easily. Now...
Muscle imbalances? Training twice or something a week? What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
This is what experts and scientists are saying. Use me as an example in the real world with all the strength training. I always started with the big movements.
Can somebody explain to me what the hell Jason Blaha is fucking mumbling about? What the hell is he talking about?
Accordingly, I always did arms, and if I did anything like side delts or any delt work, where did I put it? The very end of the workout. What are my most developed muscles in my body? Well, my posterior chain, my back, my chest. I got a pretty good sized chest. The arms didn't grow enough. Years and years of doing that. Am I not evidence of what this has been saying? And I have to accept that. So then that means that someone like me is going to have to rebalance it out. It means I need an actual arm day now. So I'm not saying everyone needs an arm day. Even if you do a split routine, you only need an arm day if your arms are probably lagging. Otherwise, you can throw triceps in on chest day. You can have back day and do them. The muscles that have grown the biggest on me largely have been really my torso. So I do those on their same day together. They don't need as much specialization. So with split routines, it lets you specialize a little more. You can combine stuff together that doesn't need as much work.
You betting the spread?
You know it.
Specialize a little more. You can combine stuff together that doesn't need as much work. You can...
Look, man, split routines are only good for one thing. They don't work. They're that bro science split routine. The only reason I do a split routine is to condition myself, and it's a slower progression. The muscle proteins, they go up because I have enough nuclei, okay, to synthesize protein. So I want the proteins to go up and I want the body fat to go down. That's it. And I don't want to see the needle on the scale move at all. I don't want to see it going up and I don't want to see it going down. What I want to see is my body conditioning itself. That's what I want to see. I want to see the body conditioning itself. That's it. Meaning muscle to fat ratio. The muscle goes up and the fat goes down. You don't see it on the scale. The weight always stays the same on the scale. If you're 250 and let's say you're 15% body fat and you want to lower it to 9% or maybe 8 or whatever around that area, well, guess what? The muscle goes up a bit. It compensates for the loss of the fat. The weight stays the same and the body fat goes down from 15 to whatever 9%, and the contractile proteins, they increase. That's it. Can you do that? No, because if you don't have enough nuclei, you cannot synthesize protein. You cannot support further muscle growth. That's why none of you people are growing in the gym. You're all lifting gym slaves. And so then they got you, these crazy people, they invented powerlifting because they realized there's an adaptation process that's left over in lifting something heavy. Look, let me explain this. Follistatin and myostatin and the satellite cell, they do not control the myocytic androgen receptor, which is for maximum force production, phony force production, okay? And these motor units that proliferate through the muscle fibers, they do not have a domain limit. That's why you can be a skinny strong guy, a small strong guy lifting a heavy weight. You understand me? Lifting heavy weights do not make you bigger. Nuclei synthesize protein to further support that domain. That's it. That's it, bro. And so that's why you're all fucking lost and confused. You're all like, you're out of your gorg. You're out of your mind. Trying to figure it out. What's going on here? Why isn't this working? It doesn't work the way you think it does. Now, here's another thing. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy as opposed to myofibrillar hypertrophy does not is not controlled by follistatin, myostatin, and the satellite cell. So you can eat a lot of carbs and you can load it as ATP. That's why you can grow these phony muscles easily and fake people out, and you can fool them and fake them out that you got big muscles. But does that make you stronger? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? No. But myofibrillar growth is what makes you strong. It calibrates you, okay, to be good at everything. Now, and fat doesn't have a domain limit either. It's not controlled by follistatin, myostatin, or satellite cell. What is controlled by satellite cell and follistatin, myostatin? Myofibrillar growth, unfortunately. I'm sorry, dude, but that's just how it is. Now, you have to figure out how to get around it. It's really simple. It's based on an adaptation system. That's it. That's the secret to muscle growth. Get an adaptation. If you're not getting an adaptation, then there's zero growth going on there. And you need to eat. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. That's it. That's the formula to building muscle. Okay, man? Now, how do I do it? Well, I do full bodies because those are the best to resensitize your body and go through a repair and a remodeling. You get more damage there, so you get more hyperplasia. There's consistent fiber growth there. There's much more fiber growth because the damage is exclusively high, extremely high. In a body split, you may get some adaptations, but the amount of damage is not tremendously high. Okay, well, so you say, well, I'm going to move for higher repetitions. You may move for higher repetitions, lifting a heavy weight. But again, it'll rapidly adapt and then it just goes away with bro splits. It just goes away. That's why full bodies are much more superior than doing splits. But anyway, they're more difficult because the food, the eating, and the repair and the remodeling and all this kind of stuff that you're going through is going to be very heightened. You're going to feel very in pain for over 4 days or something in the beginning. And even when the pain goes away after 4 days, you're still in a repair and a remodeling. You can't just go there to the gym and lift again, okay? And so you're going to go through this pain. You're going to go through, restriction, movement restriction, this, that, force capacities are down, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. And plus you have to eat shitloads and shitloads of buckets of food, okay? So, like I said, that's a lot of work for some people. They can't accomplish it. Like Blaha, he's lazy.
Make sure that every muscle gets worked at the start of every workout. The other thing to think about with why the frequency matters less, and maybe this is a big factor, isn't there overlap? And it may be enough to respark the muscle protein synthesis to keep you growing off the muscle. Isn't that something I've often said, well, this will respark muscle protein synthesis. Even if you come in and you only do a few sets.
Yeah, go ahead. Spark this so-called protein synthesis. Remember, there's also a window for protein breakdown. Yeah, go ahead, spark it. But again, without nuclei, you cannot support further muscle growth. MND size limit has reached a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process, where the progenitor is beyond where the progenitor can donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. Get it? So in a lifting session, what you're looking for is an adaptation, bro. Get it? You need to get an adaptation. Yes, Blaha. And then protein synthesis is going to work. Because nuclei, they synthesize protein like it says in science.
For the second workout, it should re-spark it. Wouldn't that hold true for secondary muscles? In other words, if you do some close grip bench pressing on your arm day for your chest, for your triceps, isn't that going to work your chest again? Obviously.
No, it's not. You want to know why athletes lift weights in the gym? Because they believe they're gonna build some muscle. Why is that? Because they believe it's going to make them better in their sport. Whether it's running, swimming, jogging, I don't know what the fuck they're doing there, playing baseball, basketball. So every sport person that you know goes to a gym to lift. Why do they go there? To get an adaptation. They go there to get a different type of adaptation in muscle growth. So they believe that when they get an adaptation, they don't need to keep practicing at getting better at doing something. They got stronger by growing muscles, more muscle fiber type 2s that will make them automatically better at their sport. You understand me? Without having to keep practicing.
You're getting some muscle protein synthesis on the arms from the chest and the back. While you're pulling, you're telling me pull-ups.
They may not think about it in their head, but that's just how it works in the real world, in reality world. Not in La La Land where you live, Blaha.
Really, chin-ups with pull-ups aren't going to stimulate some bicep. I mean, bench presses ain't going to stimulate some tricep. In the lab, they grow pretty decent from it.
They could. Pull-ups are doing something to your biceps and your lats at the same time. Okay.
See where we're going with this? How about if shoulders have their own day? What all other muscles get hit with shoulders? And shoulders get hit again on all those days.
They do. They get hit on those days. If you did your arms and now you're doing pull-ups, that's crazy. That's why you're adapted. The body has rapidly adapted by how? By repairing and modeling stronger. So when you do these exercises, they don't damage anymore. So, and then you can actually shrink them because now you're exercising. You're actually doing more than what is necessary. And so you're losing these contractile proteins and you're going to shrink the muscles. Yeah.
What happens if you split your legs into different days? Like I have, a hamstring and a quad dominant day. Isn't there overlap? Don't deadlifts work quads? Yes. Is it enough to cause some muscle protein synthesis increase again? Probably. Does all the squat pattern movements work hamstring?
It won't matter if you stimulated some protein synthesis there. If you don't have additional nuclei to support further muscle growth, then it wouldn't matter how much protein you eat there, duh.
It's enough to maybe cause that. It's a secondary muscle. I'm
talking about adapted people that want to get additional contractile proteins, people that are adapted lifting in the gym. Okay, it's not happening. You need to get an adaptation. I'm sorry, man.
They do grow a little bit in the lab from squats. How about glutes? They're getting work both days. How about all the back work involved in these different things? See where we're going? They're not really only being worked once a week. They're only directly being focused on once a week. But it works. And as much as a lot of us wanted to say, well, it doesn't work that well. It doesn't work perfectly. It may not work. People have got results in the real world doing it. Phenomenal results, both on and off gear. And if we're going to stand here and say that there is drug-specific training, or are we simply going to say the drugs give you more wiggle room? I think it's the latter. But if your training isn't good, you're still not going to get amazing results, even on gear.
Look, the reason people take gear is because they enhance your performance without practicing. Think about it. How are the Trent twins able to bench 500 pounds? Did they practice at it? No, they injected these plant fucking genetics and they're able to lift really heavy weight without practicing at it. Yeah, they don't really have to practice. They can lift really heavy weight. And as far as the muscle, the muscles are phony muscles. They just blew up like a balloon. It's mostly from carbs and shit. Yeah. And even if there was some shit there stimulated, let's say protein, it'll be temporary because it is artificial. Still, it's artificial because it's being stimulated by the artificial hormone, the plant genetics. And once those plant genetics go away, that artificial stimulant goes away. That stuff that you built there goes away. Artificially will go away. It's really simple because you didn't really build anything real there.
Forget that's the genetically gifted people on here. They have a much larger wiggle room.
The genetically gifted people, why are they so gifted? Because they were able to they have access to steroids and you don't? Oh, okay. What?
So that is why my opinions change. And I'm like, and I still program all of those. You know, I still have some rank early novices in rebuilding who are hitting full body 3 times a week.
No, you don't. What happened to client Michelle, by the way, Blaha? Where is she?
They're rare. Very, I have one. I have people who do upper lowers. I have people who do body part splits. A bunch of my athletes do push-pull legs 3 times a week. The thing is, I use all of these tools based upon the individual needs, individual programming of the client.
No, you don't. You don't base anything on any tools. You're a poor coach. You suck. Look, I'm not a coach. I've never claimed to be a coach. I don't know anything. I'm a human being. I don't know anything. I gotta go off my experiences. You understand me? And I have to get as many experiences as I can to understand the fundamentals of why this happens. Look, it's like this. If you've never built your body through myofibrillar growth, through these adaptations, and let's say you got up to 285 pounds, then how would you know what it's like to be at 285 pounds? I can't tell you what it's like for people to be on steroids because I'm not on any steroids. You'd have to ask somebody who took steroids and ask them, what is it like to be on steroids? Well, I had to ask my friends because they were on steroids, and they told me. They told me everything about every kind of drug, stacks, whatever they took there, whatever they were doing. They educated me, okay, back in those days, because a lot of people back in the 80s and 90s took steroids a lot. The gym that I'm going to right now, that gym was a heavy-duty steroid gym, I'm telling you. That was like a mecca for drugs and shit. Everybody went there, because that used to be Gold's Gym. But like I said, man, yeah, you have to have experience to know how all these things work. You have to have experiences with them. I have experiences in the physical, the natural world. I don't know about the fake world. Maybe you have a lot of experience in the fake world. That's what your channel is all about, Blaha. I'm not sure. But people hate natural. In this artificial world that we live in, they deny natural. They hate being natural. They hate natural. But then they all complain later about fake natties and natties. They get all crazy. But the truth is, this is such an unnatural world. They hate natural people. They look at your physique, natural physique, and then they make fun of you because they like the fakeness. They like fake, bro, because they're crazy.
Isn't that what all of us should be doing with our own training, with our clients? That's logical. That's rational. Different frequency is just a tool in the toolbox. That's it. All right, guys, well, that's really...
Different frequency is just a tool, another tool in the toolbox? What?
All I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
That was so uninformative, man. That was incredible. I don't know what's wrong with you, man, but maybe one day you'll wake up, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just die a failure. Huh. I know many people that died as failures, bro. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video, friends. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, comment down below, helps with the algorithm. If you like the video, like it, and subscribe if you want to. Okay, see you in the next one. Ciao.